Hey everybody, welcome to the Blueprint Live social media edition. My name is Gary and I am the founder and creative director here at Capital Content. Thanks so much for joining. Over the next hour, we are going to be talking about all things social. We know you're on your lunch break, so we are going to crack straight on with everything that we're going to talk about. So today, we're going to talk about who we are and why we're allowed to stand in front of you and tell you about social media and content creation. We're then going to hand over to the rest of the team and they're going to talk about their own little sections. So we're going to talk about why social media, the strategy, copywriting, design, content creation, and then we'll open up to Q&A. So we understand that there obviously is a varying amount of people in the audience right now. So some of you are marketing managers, some of you are small business owners. So at points we might be teaching you the foundations that you already know, but hopefully there should be a few nuggets that you can take away. I've just smashed a double espresso, so get your pen and paper ready. Let's crack on. So, who we are, we'll get past the sales pitch nice and quick. So we are Capital Content. We're a digital agency and we do video, photo, social, design, live streaming, everything digital, anything is possible. We're based over in Cobham. If you need social media management or video content, we are the people to speak to. So I'm going to hand over to Beatrice, who is our head of social and design, and she is going to cover off some really exciting topics, strategy, and all of those beautiful words. So Beatrice, over to you.
Thank you. So I'm going to cover off why social media to begin with, and you might have heard some of these bullet points that I'm going to go through before, but they are the basis to all things, underlying social media, and you might find something that you haven't heard before or that you can improve on.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly. So starting. You have brand awareness, target marketing, and customer support. So brand awareness, this is like who your brand is, getting your brand out there, what like your fonts are, your colors are, all of those things, and basically having a good brand image. So if you don't have, your own font, your own color, these things are important for brand awareness in terms of what I've put here is organic reach. And when we were discussing it internally, when we wanted to properly define it, we kind of saw it as consistency.
Yeah, I think you need to show up consistently. Yeah. And with consistency, right? So make sure you have the right logos and brand colors, but also the way that you speak, and it doesn't have to be frequency. You don't have to turn up every day. Just make sure you turn up consistently, right?
Exactly, and having those brand colors and logos and assets really help. It's the same way that people like Nike and Apple are recognizable just by their logo, and even fonts. Yeah. Those things are important.
We're totally at the same level as Nike and Apple, so hopefully you recognize that little blue square, right? Yeah. But I think keeping that brand consistency helps with your organic reach. There are some platforms that probably have less organic reach than others, so Facey super low, TikTok super high, but you still need to turn up every day on those platforms, right?
Exactly, which kind of leads perfectly onto the target marketing, because this is mainly to do with, I'm going to say, paid ads. Yep. Because this is where your target market becomes really important, because you can really niche it down to who you want your post to go out to. And going back to what specific platforms that have less organic reach, like Facebook, you have ones like LinkedIn where there is actually quite a lot of organic reach, so you might not necessarily need this. But on Facebook, using target marketing and really niching who you want it to go out to. I mean, we're discussing today, it's insane, some of the ways.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are market managers in the audience right now that will know about target marketing, but the broad brush approach doesn't work. You need to be laser focused, right? Mm-hmm. If you're selling bikinis, you don't want 60-year-old men, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I mean, it depends on the type of engagement you're after, right? But you don't want 60-year-old men because they're not going to be purchasing those products, right? You want 20-year-old girls, for example, right? Yeah. So it's about laser-focused paid marketing, but also as a foundation, you've got to have that organic reach.
Yeah, but that's what makes it cost efficient. You want your marketing to be based on who you are targeting to. And we have insight platforms that we use internally that show who your audience is. So if you do want to target 20 to 30-year-olds, let's say, but your audience is mainly 30 to 40-year-olds, you can niche your target market and your paid ads to that 20-year-old market to hit a target that you're not naturally hitting, but that you feel like your product is for.
Absolutely. Basically. And this last point here, I think, is something that's quite overlooked, and we've kind of experienced a little bit of it over the last couple of weeks. But this is what helps you stand out from the competition outside of posting photos on Instagram, right?
Yeah, definitely. We were discussing this in like this day and age. A lot of people go to social media for customer support, for help, for questions. Yeah. And
they expect a quick turnaround, right?
Yeah, well, ideally, that's what kind of, to help you stand out from the competition, you really want a response rate that's an hour, if we're being honest.
Like max.
Yeah.
I want fucking answers like 5 minutes. I want like the little blue dots, to rock up after I've messaged, right?
Yeah.
You will get my spend if I see those little dots straight away.
Exactly, and that is what does help you stand out for the competition. But having good customer support, someone that is there to answer your questions, even if you're a big business, small business, or just someone that's on there that can answer the questions. Small questions,
you need to be responsive. That's super key, right?
And just be there, basically. Be present at all times on social, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Or have opening hours where they know that they can get response from you, because that reliability is what is gonna make people come back to your business and talk about it in a positive way.
Absolutely. So some more exciting stuff. Overall strategy. So this is, we're trying to teach you, or at least show you what we do for clients, and then hopefully you'll be able to take, a few points away. But this is our own proprietary way of, creating content to help take people through a funnel, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So these are the three main sort of key pillars that we go through, and these basically just ensure that all the posts that you're putting out go out with purpose. Because what we found is a lot of people just put posts out as and when content comes in, which at times can be important, but it is ideal that the majority of your posts are going out with a purpose and have something in mind.
Absolutely. It's all about posting with purpose, right? You've absolutely got to have purpose. So the first stage is potential. That's everybody.
Yeah, that's everyone. That's all as like a brief sort of head note. Potential is everyone. You just want to showcase who you are as a brand or what you do on a very like two-dimensional, this is who we are, this is what we do. Get it to as many people as possible. Absolutely.
And then the second stage is to convert those, not to use the word convert, make those people from potential to the engaged side, right?
Exactly. And this is kind of people that are already interested in your market or what you offer. And these people, you kind of want to engage with them in an either relatable way, or you want to ask them questions, or you want to do something fun that gets a response and gets answers from them about how to better yourself or where to go.
Yep.
And that will hopefully convert into convert.
Brilliant. So what you're doing is the full audience is the potential. The people that engage with your posts are at the engaged stage, and then what you want to do is convert those eyeballs into purchases, right? And what we're saying is that every piece of content that we create for clients always ticks one of these three boxes.
Exactly. And convert, you're mainly looking at either to repurpose stuff that your audience has created to show that sort of love and get them into a community sort of vibe, or you're converting them by sending them, this is going to go directly onto the next slide, using call to actions where you want to convert them to, where you want to send them, where you want them to go.
Yeah. So call to action's super important. Exactly. And again, this is one of those things, there are people in the audience that know what a CTA is, but it's often overlooked, and it's super important. We really need that ambulance at the bottom of the cliff to be able to capture eyeballs and send them to wherever you want to send them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And whether that be sort of somewhere that's on the post itself, like on the graphic, or whether it's in the copy, it's always essential. And it differs per platform. You want to make sure, we were just talking about LinkedIn has a new feature that they're rolling out where the link is on the image.
That's brilliant. What you found, here's a tip for you. If you put the URL in the copy of the post for LinkedIn, they will reduce the organic reach because you're effectively trying to send people away from their platform, and they don't want that. No, so now what they're doing, which is good, and I'm assuming definitely use this functionality, is put the link, the hyperlink, in the image. Super engaging.
Yeah, and it's just ideal for a lot of people that are liking or engaging in your content to have somewhere that they can be sent. It kind of sounds a bit silly, but a lot of people, when they want to look for something, they want the ability to click on it or go to that stage.
Make it easy for them. Yeah, man. The click to purchase, make it easy, a little hyperlink, whatever it might be.
Like you were saying, make the click through as short as possible, make it as easy for them to get to where you are as possible. We were saying, for Instagram, you need a link in bio, but if that link in bio is messy or inefficient, it's not going to work. So you just want to reduce the amount of time people can see the post or what you want.
Yeah, regardless of what you're selling, it's what we call click to purchase. And what you're best to do is think about when you post out an ad, how many clicks does it take for you to get to contact us?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If it's more than 3, you're out. Take out a process.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And then lastly.
Yeah, so this is just a brief example of what we do for clients. This is one that we made for one of our flooring clients. It basically just ensures it's a sheet that you can look back to, anyone on your team can look back to, where it has everything there, everything with purpose. You've got, within your 3 main pillars here, you've got your objectives, your concepts, a description of what it is, and then your call to actions. And there's multiple choice options within here.
Yeah, and I think it looks like a lot of work at first, and maybe, it is. It's a little bit boring as fuck, but what we need to do is have this as a Bible. So if you're a one person marketing, then at least then you've always got one point of truth to work from, and that also works for a team of marketers. At least then you know, and this is fluid as well. This can change, but treat it as a Bible, you know?
Yeah, because it allows you to create content with purpose every time in a very efficient manner, and these things can be decided in-house or with whoever, just to ensure that everything's going out meets, you know, the sales and marketing goals for that month, even week, however much you're bulking.
Absolutely. If you have any questions about any of this, you can always slide into our DMs. More than happy, you know, what would Gary do? All of that kind of stuff. Beatrice, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Cheers. So I'd like to invite to the floor Daniela. Danny is our social media executive, and she will be talking about copywriting. So as if by magic, Danny is here. So Danny, another very exciting topic, copywriting. So I think people, again, kind of overlook. It's not just about chucking out a photo, one-by-one photo over Instagram. You need to have that copy that goes with it, right?
Absolutely. I think with TikTok and Instagram and all of those platforms that are so used at the moment, pictures and videos obviously become the most important thing and the first thing that you see. But actually, where do you go from there? It's to the copy. You can only do calls to action through copy. I think it's definitely an overlooked thing and can actually be really, really helpful.
It's the social in social media.
Exactly. And what is social media without social?
That's right. We've got the media part sorted. Now we need the words.
Exactly.
So tell me what we've got here.
Okay, so these are a few things that I think are really important when you're considering your copy. Brand and authenticity, I would say, is the most important thing.
I completely agree. And I think authenticity for me works really well. I'm in a unique position for my personal brand, let's say, where I can be unapologetically me. And that works really well. You know, I can put swear words and slang and talk about, you know, certain topics that are outside of content creation. Yeah. But that authenticity works really well for me as a personal brand, but also works well for a business, right?
Exactly. I do feel for people that have to work for another brand where they're, you know, it's very...
They have strict guidelines.
Exactly. But actually, I think as long as you know your brand and you know the kind of what you want to put across as that brand and who you want to be and how you want to appear, that is the most important thing. And then after that, you can act authentically. And I think that in itself is probably the most overlooked thing. I think if you can write how you would speak, how would you want people to engage with you.
We call it the barbecue effect, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you were, you know, if your business was a person, how would they act if they were to go to a barbecue where they didn't know anybody? And that's effectively brand and authenticity, right? Absolutely. And the words that you use will portray, you know, do you use the word don't or do you use the word do not? Yeah. You know, it's a classic example of copywriting dependent on tone of voice and brand, right? And then we go down into platforms, right? So when we say platforms, what do we mean?
Well, I think it actually leads on really fluidly from authenticity.
That's good because I'll put that on the list just straight after that.
Yes, well, very nicely done.
Yeah.
Platforms traditionally you use different language in different platforms. So
and different conversations and stuff as well, right?
Exactly. Back to the barbecue effect, if it was LinkedIn, it's about work all the time. And if it was Facebook, they'd talk about their family and their kids and the holiday they've just been on. And if it was Instagram, they'd talk about the latest memes.
On a night out.
Do you know? Exactly.
Yeah.
Platforms traditionally you have to consider the copy that you're writing per platform. But I actually believe that it's more so what you're writing about as opposed to how you're writing.
Absolutely. So, for example, LinkedIn, you talk about industry news.
Yeah.
Whereas Instagram, you might talk about staff profiles.
Exactly. Exactly that.
One thing to keep in mind is probably the value side of it, though, right?
Absolutely. All of this is absolutely pointless if you're not giving value.
Yes.
Because we are in such a... Social media is so disposable. You are constantly flicking and the attention span is so low.
Yeah.
People aren't going to stick around if you are not giving something to them. If you are not bringing value in your writing, in what you're saying, it could be tips, tricks, it could be 100%. Something that you've learned along the way, whatever it is.
Got to add value, right?
They have to have something that they're going to take away with them, or why would they stay?
Yeah, one of my biggest bugbears, right, is seeing like a landscaper or a builder's van driving down the A3 and it says follow us on Facebook. Why?
Yeah.
Right? Why follow? Why follow you on Facebook, right? That you need to add value. You need to say, why am I following Facebook? Are you going to give me landscaping tips? If so, let me know.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I'm not going to bother.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There's so many people out there that will do it and will give value, and that's how they build their community.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. It's very easy to get the odd person coming in and, you know, having a look at what you've posted and listening to what you've got to say, but to have someone stick around and to build a group of people that are actually invested in what you're posting and what you're saying, they don't just go. That's something that stays, and
Absolutely.
that is what comes with bringing value.
And from a community perspective, again, this is one of those things that are overlooked. It's again about being social. You need to engage with the people. You need to comment, you know, to bring the people to you. Bring, you know, the mountain to Muhammad kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
And then tell me a little bit. Now, this is a generational divide, I think. But the great hashtag debate. What do we mean by the great hashtag debate?
Well,
We all know what hashtags are,
you're
right?
a boomer, so
Please, I'm a Zennial, is what I actually am. I was born without the internet, but I know how to use an iPhone. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by the great hashtag debate.
So I think more broadly, I'm talking about aesthetics
Yes.
in general, because
Rather than administrative purpose, right?
yeah, people often overlook that you can have aesthetics in copy as well. It can be, you know, how many emojis you use, the hashtags you use. All of those things are equally as important as in your designs.
Yeah.
I am a fan of minimal, you know, 3 to 5 hashtags. They have to be relevant. Please make your hashtags relevant. Don't shove them in the middle of your copy with a hashtag and.
We can both agree, don't put hashtag in the copy.
Always if you're going to do it at the bottom, hidden away as much as possible.
Do it at the bottom.
So we disagree on the whole hashtag thing. I don't think that you need 500 hashtags at the bottom of a caption.
Well, I mean, let's not exaggerate. Let's not maybe have to be a fool.
I think they have to be relevant, and I would always recommend 3 to 5 and out of the way. And yeah, that is a good.
And on my side, like the way that, you know, my whatever the word is, example is that if you were to be given the 30 chances to enter the lottery, you'd probably take all 30, right? You wouldn't just take 3 or 5. I would definitely agree in moving them down to the bottom of the post, get them out of the way because they're ugly as fuck. But from an administrative purpose, they do serve a purpose. So it's best to have it. LinkedIn, absolutely 3 to 5. Insta, I would say 30.
But I again
let us know in the comments below what your preference is. Are you a minimal or are you enter the lottery kind of style?
I also think as well it all circles back. All of this circles back to brand and authenticity.
Absolutely.
If you are the kind of brand, or it's authentically you to use loads of hashtags, then you crack on. You do something, and when you're authentic in what you're posting and what you're writing, people will be more drawn to it and they'll stick around.
100%.
No matter how many hashtags.
Danny, thank you very much. Round of applause. So now we are going to introduce our senior social media manager, Laura. And as if by magic, Laura has appeared. Ta-da!
Hi.
Look at that, the magic of TV. So Laura, you are going to go through some design examples, right? We've spoken to the audience and we've given them some tips around strategy and copywriting and the great hashtag debate. Now we're going to talk about the actual design element from graphic images, specifically for Instagram, but this is across the board, right?
Yeah.
So we'll crack straight on to the first one. Oh my God, Laura, why have you put a naked lady on the screen?
I wanted to get everyone's attention.
Okay, cool.
First, straight away.
Thumb
straight
stoppable
away.
content. Cool. So I think what we're saying is that the image on the left is what was before, and the image on the right is what we've done to improve it.
Yes. So this was actually for one of our old clients. This was a photo that they had on their Instagram beforehand. And we liked the aesthetic of it. We liked the fact that their product was there. And we liked the whole imagery of the women because it was to empower women.
Absolutely. This is CBD infused lube.
Yeah. Get to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we wanted to do is keep that same focus being the product and also the women's body insert.
Yeah.
What we did was take a different photo of a female body, put it in the middle, so that's the focus, and then we had the product at the bottom, so we know that that is Jomo's product, and we know, and then if someone's scrolling, they can see it, and they'll be like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah, and we've got just a couple of minor points, you know, to kind of, you know, from a benefit or a feature of the actual product itself. It's not a full list of features. No. It's just a little bit, just to kind of catch the eye and help
to tease them.
Yeah. Oh, good. How apt trapped. Number 2. So this, everybody on the right-hand side, this is Chris, our head of video. He got roped into modelling for one of our clients. So thanks very much for
He's
that, Chris.
definitely going to get signed from this.
With his lovely curly hair. Hi, Crispy, if you're watching.
Crispy.
So tell me a little bit about the image on the left first, Laura.
Okay, so this is for one of our clients who does a flooring company, and they wanted to do competitions. They do a lot of competitions on their Instagram, Facebook, etc. But when you first see this photo, you think, okay, cool, there is a hoodie and it's fancy a free hoodie, it's to do with the competition, but it's not eye-catching enough.
No,
you don't
it's really plain.
Yeah, when you're scrolling, you just scroll past
Look
that.
at the line height between those two. Gross.
I know. So what we did is we added the purpose behind it being the competition, which is on the banner at the bottom in the red, which is win of 1 of 3.
Yep.
We had the photo in the background, so it's a nice design to look
we'll
at.
put the product almost in situ, right?
Yeah.
This is in situ kind of image.
Yeah. And then what we did, we just put the logo at the bottom so everyone knew it's to do with Ardex. Not that you can see it on the...
No, but again, so it's good to kind of catch the eye, because if people were to just scroll past it, at least you've got the logo in front of them for brand recognition, right?
100%. And I feel like it just looks so much nicer on the feed as well, because it's like eye-catching and you're like, oh my God, there's a competition.
When you look at the grid. Yeah. Love it.
It's just interesting.
So, number 3. Tell me a little bit. So the one on the left again is their image.
Yes. The one on the left was their image. It's great because they have loads of information on it and they wanted to get that across to their audience. But if you were scrolling through Instagram, which is an aesthetic, like, social
visual
itself,
platform,
right? It's not interesting to look at. I would scroll past that and be like, oh, you know what? That's not that interesting.
Yeah.
And as Danny said before, you can put that in the copy. So what we did was take this sort of idea, but we wanted to make it more visual. So we put the photo in the background, which is obviously to do with sport, which was this same as the company. And then what we've done is we've added the tips, but in situ on the photo, and then we've made it look more interesting with a bit of
you use
design.
like the mobile UI there with the little switches, and I think that's quite engaging. Into rather than just kind of a grey square of a bit of text, we've put a kind of a large image behind it, and then the image on the right has those little green switches. That's quite engaging. And then this one, I quite like this transitional one.
This was one for one of our old clients as well. As you can see, there's a lot of information in the photo in the left. So it's great information, but we think that's better in the copy. So what we've done is firstly take the main title and then added that as the first image. This was going to be a carousel post that we put onto Instagram. So we've made the first image the title so everyone knows what it's about. It's then going to be engaging because people are going to swipe. Yep. And then we've made sure that it's really, really Christmassy. It's more Christmassy with one photo at the beginning
than it is with 7 photos.
With 7, because I feel like it's a lot to look at. So what we did is just narrowed it down, and then we then had multiple photos after that. We're then talking about the 3 different gifts that they can get.
That's right. So each one of these, you're saying, these little panels at the bottom became their own little post after that as well. Cool, man. So hopefully we have a Padme in the audience right now. Hi, Jess, if you're there. So we thought we'd just kind of do a bit of in situ improvement. So Laura, tell me about what you've done for an a Padme post.
Well, they have great photos all over their Instagram. You have really good photos. Good job. So what we did was you just took the photo from your live stream and we thought, okay, let's just add a tiny little extras just to make it really pop on your feed. Yeah. So what we've done is cut out the ceiling, because no one really cares about the ceiling. What the main image is at the bottom. So we've cut that out and put it on the right. Yep. So everyone's faces can be seen, and you can see the keep an open mind bit, and that's just in situ, very in the middle, so you know that is what it is. And also their little digital asset. Yeah. This is their branding, this purple, blue, we added the assets in the back, so it's just fitting in with your feed. And then we added the logo, so when people are scrolling, they're like, wow, I know who that is. Yes. Cool.
So this one is SciMed. Lee, hi, if you're still in the audience. So Lee from SciMed, this is a Facebook post that they posted.
This is from Facebook.
And, excuse me, this is what it looked like on Facebook. And you can see the +5 there. That's because it's an album of photos, right? So tell me what we've done here to kind of improve it.
Well, what we've done is we've kept the same theme with the photos, obviously, because it went well with the titles that you were choosing. Yeah. But what we have done instead is put the title on top of the photo, added the logo, and then it will be a carousel post so that you can scroll through and see the different topics. Yeah. Because it was nice before, but it's obviously laid out better.
Nice and bold, super colourful. This is what it looked like before. Now we've got 4 separate posts. Yeah. Super engaging, super bold. Still doing the same thing. Got the logo there. Yeah. I think these look great.
It's just a bit more designed.
That's right. Laura, thank you very much. Hopefully, like I said, if you've got any questions at all, you can always just slide into our DMs. You can give us a shout. I'm going to literally cover off a bit about reporting before I go into content creation. Now, this is boring stuff, right? No one really cares about reporting, but it is super crucial. There's no point just posting out posts to make sure that actually you want to see if they're actually performing. If you are a people-led organization and you are posting out a content about the business and you see that it's not performing, you'll never know unless you do reporting. So I won't go into this boring stuff, but it is super important to monitor real-time stats to help improve what you actually post. So I am going to go through a bit of content creation. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of tips and tricks about how to create content. So when we create video content specifically for our clients, the way that we do it is we base it on a TV network strategy, right? So in this slide here that I prepared earlier, you have the BBC across the top, and then BBC One, BBC Two, and BBC News. And as a business, you need to treat yourself like a media company. And just like the BBC, right, the programming on BBC One versus BBC Two is very different, and therefore they have different audiences, different demographics. And for you, as a business, you would have different objectives. So each channel, so this first channel here as a business, you might have raise brand awareness, and channel number 2 might be sell more product, for example. And what you then do is you start creating content for those objectives. So you'll have an episode, so one particular video, you'll have an episode which then rolls up into a season. And then that season of videos then rolls up into a channel. And what that does is it makes sure that you create video content with purpose. So I'll give you an example. So we have, one of our channels is to show how easy it is to work with capital content, right? And what we do is we have a video that is how to pay an invoice. And how easy it is to pay an invoice. And what that is part of an FAQ season. So we have a season of FAQs, and each one of those can be a video, but it's an episode that rolls up into video content. So it rolls up into a season of a video content, which then rolls up into an objective. So what you're then doing is every time you make a video, it is with purpose. It's not that you're just pushing out a 5-minute video and hope that converts into sales. You're creating video content towards your objective. So it's a super simple way of structuring your video content, and that helps you build a shot list as well. You make 10 videos for each channel, and there's your 30 videos that you create in one day, one video a week for the next 30 weeks. Super easy stuff. The way that when we create video content, we always suggest to have these 3 channels at an absolute bare minimum. Do you know what the bare minimum is? I can see groans from the gallery. It's 1 bear. But the 3 channels that you should have is thought leadership, behind the scenes, and community involvement. Now, thought leadership, we know, that's been banded around LinkedIn for years now. It's those little opinion pieces, 30-second videos, write a bit of copy about your industry. Don't sell your product, just tell people that you know your shit about your industry. And then we have behind the scenes. So again, there's a cliche around, people buy from people. And they don't buy from that little blue square. They buy from who I am and the way that I hold myself online. So it's about showing behind the scenes what actually happens. People, like I said, buy from people, and then community involvement. And this is really for the buying group that's kind of coming up through the ranks, where people want to emotively connect, and they want a moral or ethical business to invest their money and time in. So the only way you can compete against your competitors is if you have the same product, is to show your community involvement. So if someone's doing a 5K run, Tough Mudder, if you're going out and doing a charity day, for example, create content off the back of that. One little photo is absolutely fine of running through a muddy puddle. That shows your community involvement. That can be part of your staff charity decisions, and that could be your season of content that you create off the back of that. So super simple. So everybody has a 4K camera in their pocket right now. And as you can see on screen, I've got 2 different levels of ways of increasing your production tips and tricks without actually having to buy any more kit. So as a beginner, you can shoot both horizontally and vertically. Obviously, different platforms, Story, Insta Stories, TikTok, Snapchat do vertical. Anything else, shoot wide horizontally and then crop in if and when you need to. Make sure you use the rear camera. That's always going to be better quality. I mean, they announced a new iPhone late last night, so it might actually have a pretty good camera on the front facing as well. I'm being told in the gallery that I keep walking out of shot. Apologies. Make sure it is well lit. I don't mean like well lit. I mean, make sure it is lit well. And then use a selfie stick. I know it's a bit rubbish, but make sure you have the phone kind of, a little bit further away. No one wants to see up my hairy nose. For intermediate, a microphone. So as you can see, I've got a microphone right in front of my face right now. If you're using a mobile phone, the microphone is all the way at the other end of my hand. What you want is a little lapel, £10 from Amazon, to kind of feed onto the collar. Have a spotlight. Sometimes you can get cases that sit around the phone to kind of make sure that the shot is lit well. Then a tripod. You know, sometimes you get a desk one that actually goes from 6 feet to 3 feet. And we all know the iPhone battery is shit, so we need to get an external battery just to plug into the bottom of it all. So now that we've taught you strategy, we've taught you how to create content, you know, a few production tips on your phone, how to structure your video content as you go and create it. These are the 7 types of shots that you're going to be going out and creating, and I'll show you a video example shortly. So we have talking heads and interviews. That's obviously video straight, you know, as a mid shot from the ribs upwards. There are 2 different types of shots. You can have direct to cam when you're telling people stuff, or you can have off cam where you want people to stumble across a conversation. That's usually my favorite. B-roll, make sure it's relevant. So if you're talking about education, maybe take a shot of a whiteboard, for example, and then when someone stutters or you need to cut a bit out of an interview, you hide that cut with the relevant B-roll. A time lapse, we all know what time lapses are, everyone does them. All I would ask is why are you adding that time lapse? Because it's a bit saturated. Remember that tip. A hyperlapse is super cool, very difficult to do. It's basically a moving time lapse. Slow motion, a tip for slow motion is we are used to watching video content in 25 frames a second, right? When you go to slow down 25 frames a second, you'll see it kind of stutter. This is me doing the robot. Then if you were to shoot your video content in 50 frames a second, you can then half the speed of that footage and it will be all silky smooth without the stutter. And then selfie style, that's obviously holding the phone. I'll show you some examples, in fact. So this is the talking heads interview style. That's off camera, so that's the kind of stuff where people stumble across a conversation. Then we have a handsome chap talking directly to camera, kind of telling you stuff. This is B-roll, so this is a pottery class, kind of an adult learning down the road, and this is relevant B-roll to go over the top of people talking about pottery, all lovely, fluffy. This is the time lapse over the Royal International Air Tattoo. Again, why have a time lapse? They are cool. Then we have a hyperlapse, which is a moving time lapse. Again, very, very cool stuff. But just ask yourself, why does it serve purpose? What purpose is it serving? And I think next we have slow motion. So you can see this is nice and smooth. We shot that in 50 frames and reversed it. Sorry, played it half speed. And then we have selfie style. That's Team Capco. That's everybody's seen today, including Chris. And that's the selfie style stuff, which I love. You know, definitely super engaging, really raw, and definitely helps. So just on the last little bit from a content creation side, we're getting close to the end of the prezzo now. These are the apps that I would usually recommend in the post-production. So we've got strategy, you've got the way that you actually create it, you've got the actual 4K camera. Now you're going to get back to your office, so back to your home, and start editing all of this lovely footage you've gone to create. You can use iMovie. If you've got the idea of like scissors and glue, then you're going to be able to, and tracks, you're going to be able to edit relatively easily. Adobe Rush is the intermediate. You can also use CapCut, which is a new app that everyone's using to edit all their TikToks and stuff. That has a desktop version as well. This is super cool. And then if you want to spend £1,000 a month, you can get the full Adobe suite, but you need to be pretty pro on that. There's a lot of education, lots of buttons to press. And then almost at the very end of there, so a lot of people ask me, where should I put my content? Once we've created it, where does it go? And is it Facebook or is it YouTube? And in this instance, I'm generalizing, right? We've got social media or archive. But really, the objective here is to convert eyeballs, right? So what we're looking at is you want to put a trailer, you want to put a 29-second video across social media to get people with a call to action to then go over onto YouTube where you would embed the video. What won't happen is that people won't watch a 5-minute video over Facebook, and if you go to YouTube right now, you already know what you're going to search for. So you need to influence people with a trailer to watch the full long form across your website. Cool. So just to kind of conclude, hopefully you've still got some ink in your pen, and then if you've got any questions, obviously you can jump on the chat right now, and we do actually have a couple of questions that have been sent previously. But obviously social is great. We've kind of like skimmed every type of content that we've got here. So it's great for targeted marketing. Absolutely got to post with purpose. Go through the funnel of potential, engage and convert. CTAs, don't overlook them, they are super essential. Authenticity in your copy, definitely be authentic, don't be afraid to be authentic. Build a community, be social in that social media side, definitely add value. It's all about the why, Simon Sinek. And then keep those simple production techniques because you don't have to spend money on gear. Everyone's got a 4K camera in their pocket right now. Thank you very much for listening. We are going to go and open up to Q&A. So, Danny, I think we have some pre-populated questions.
Yes, we do.
Cool.
Are you ready, Gary?
I certainly hope so.
Okay, the first question is, does video have less visibility than text or photo and text?
Does video have less visibility? Well, I think platforms nowadays are pushing video content, right? The Reels, they get a lot of organic reach. I think TikTok gets loads of organic reach. So I think that they do get a lot of visibility now because platforms are pushing video content, but it's not, impressions versus views. Try not to do it for vanity metrics. Try to think about pushing out content for your audience rather than chasing those likes. But yes, always lead with video content because every platform is pushing video super hard right now.
Great, thank you. Next question.
Yep.
Does liking your own post, I think this is LinkedIn related, does liking your own post help in flagging LinkedIn that it is rising or deter it? How about placing a comment on your own post with a link or more info?
Okay, cool. I mean, that's a great question. So we call it the circle jerk, right? So liking your own post, I'm not a massive fan, especially if you're the first person to like it. So you go, oh, so who's liked that post? You go look at it, it's the author of that post. I think that's a bit embarrassing. So I would leave other people to comment. What you definitely don't want to do is put a URL, we mentioned it earlier, in the copy of the post. You want to be able to put your first comment as the URL. So say, hey, link in the comments kind of thing, because that will reduce the organic reach if you put a URL in the copy. What was the first part of the question?
It was, so liking your own post, we've answered that.
Yeah.
Does it?
Oh, does it flag it? No, I don't know about the algorithm side of it. I don't know if it does actually tell LinkedIn, oh, there's another like, or whether it deters it if you like your own post. But I think just from a brand point of view, try not to like your own posts.
Be authentic. If you love yourself, go for
it. Be authentic.
Okay, third question. How does one get featured on LinkedIn News?
Oh, mate, if I knew that, I'd tell you. Right? I think it's funny. We've had a couple of emails recently. I'm looking at head of social at the moment. We've had a couple of emails from LinkedIn to say we have posted every day for the last 19 days in a row. And we're getting emails from LinkedIn saying you might be featured on LinkedIn News quite soon. So we probably won't be. But I think it's about consistency. If you can keep up that organic reach by consistently posting quality, valuable content, then LinkedIn will pick it up. But you do need to have the super big views, I think. We've only got like 400 followers on our LinkedIn. And we don't really feature too much on our page. It's more of our personal profiles. So let the gods decide, but be consistent.
Okay.
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you. I have a question leading off of that. What do you think is more important on LinkedIn? Personal brand or business exposure?
Good question. The most important thing is conversion. So it doesn't matter whether you got 5,000 likes or whether you got one like or whether it's from a person or from a business. It's how much revenue have you generated? What have you achieved your objective? So it doesn't matter whether it's coming from a profile or from a business. I would obviously focus on personal brand rather than business if we're really going to go down that route. But it's about achieving your objective. Regardless of how you do it, as long as it's achieving your objective, then go ahead and do it. Know what I mean?
Great. Do you have a blueprint for repurposing content?
Do I have a blueprint for repurposing content? Maybe we should do blueprint repurposing edition. But I think there's two things that we look at from a repurposing perspective. Are we talking about other people posting content about your brand that you are then repurposing? If so, absolutely do it. Make sure you tag the person. Or are you talking about posting a TikTok and using that same vertical video over a story and a Snapchat? If so, then use repurpose.io. It's not a blueprint, it's not a full strategy, but it's automation. And I think, Beatrice made this comment a couple of weeks back around you'd be silly to not use some element of automation in your marketing platforms, right? Cool. I think we've got time for one more question.
One more. Okay. The final one then. Because I'm biased and it's about copy, I'm going to ask you, how long or short should the copy be? Does it differ for platform?
Yes. I think again, it is not about how long or short it is. It's about what your audience wants. If your audience wants super sharp shooter, if he wants super sharp paragraphs, then absolutely deliver that. If it wants long form, blogs, absolutely write that. I think LinkedIn, when you go to click that see more, if there's loads of words, I'm off, right? With Instagram, I think again a short paragraph. I always try to do, it goes back to that classic story writing. When you're at school, they go start with the start, go over the middle, and then end on the end. It seems super simple, right? But have a start, mid, and end. So 3 paragraphs across the board. But test. Use that reporting. Like I said, it's boring as fuck, right? But it helps you fine tune the type of content. If your audience wants to read long form content on LinkedIn, then write long form content on LinkedIn. But you won't know that unless you look at the reports, or break it up into 3 sections. Yeah, start, middle, and end.
Great.
Cool.
Thank
I
you.
think that's it. Thank you very much for joining. Let's get all the team in for a little fun affair. So thanks so much for tuning in. We have been Capital Content and the social team. Everyone's quickly doing their hair before they jump in on camera. So thank you for joining us. We will see you all in the next edition. Shout if you ever need this, capitalcontent.co, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.